energy. And then the best way to have energy and to avoid being flat is to play well. Start fast and then sustain that throughout the game. The Lions have started fast, I think, in every game they've had this year. So that'll be a challenge for us to come up against that and try to get our first home win.
That was Kirk Cousins talking about just bringing energy to your day job as a football player and making sure they don't start slow against the Lions. We'll dive into the Lions being shorthanded, and we'll also dive into Purple Positivity Thursday. I'm Phil Mackey. That's Judd Zulgad. We got Declan Goff producing here. And a huge thank you, however you consume Purple Daily, whether it's via podcast on Apple, Spotify, and scorenorth.com, or maybe you consume us on YouTube, youtube.com/Purple Daily Podcast. Last month was a record month for us across the board, and we appreciate all of you helping us set new numbers. We got almost 11,000 subscribers on our YouTube page. We have another YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/ScoreNorthMN. So a huge thank you, and we appreciate the Vikings making this season very entertaining, even though they're only 2-5. So let's start out, gentlemen, with the fact that not only is Kenny Golladay probably not going to play, he's been banged up throughout the year, so that's their number one wide receiver threat, but Matthew Stafford has been placed on the COVID list for the Lions. And what's that report that you guys saw from Tom Pelissero? He's going to have to fly private.
So Tom said yesterday afternoon that the Lions have to fly Matthew Stafford on a private plane to Minnesota because he'll still be in a 5-day isolation window when the team departs Saturday, per his source. He also can't practice all week, but as long as he tests negative and has no COVID symptoms, he can play on Sunday.
And he does not have it. He was exposed to a close contact person who was not a teammate on Monday who had it.
Okay.
And so he was tested yesterday and was not positive for it.
So is he probably going to play then?
So he can probably get on a plane and fly here on Sunday and play, unless you'd prefer to see noted Viking killer Chase Daniel. Took it to you last year with the Bears, and he is now the Detroit Lions backup quarterback.
Of all the backup quarterbacks in the NFL that the Vikings don't want to see, is Chase number one? He's got to be
after what he did
right?
last year. Yeah, he probably is. Him or Matt Moore, right?
Matt Moore was another one,
who I don't think is playing in 2020. So I would say that for this year, it's very safe to say Chase Daniel is a guy. But I mean, Stafford is good. I don't know if not practicing for a guy like that is going to put him back that much, probably. But my guess is that they will make an attempt to get him here on Sunday, and my guess is he probably will play.
Yeah. Also worth noting, up and down the roster, if you're wondering, okay, who are the weapons going to be if Kenny Galladay's only played 5 games? Adrian Peterson's their leading rusher. 85 rushes for 321 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's actually caught 7 passes for 55 yards.
What's happening?
So are we going to see an Adrian
down,
Peterson getting loose inside US Bank Stadium?
He, I believe, had, if I'm not mistaken, on Sunday against the Colts in the 41-21 loss, I believe he had something like 5 carries, 7 yards.
That's not very good.
It's been an up and down year for AP, right. For 28.
It was 5 carries for 7 yards.
Yeah.
The week before, he had 11 carries for 29. He's averaging 3.5 yards per carry on the season.
I think he's had 2 pretty good games, including opening week against the Bears. He ran for like 97. And then I believe his second best game is 75. And besides that, it's been pretty underwhelming for him.
Yeah. So, all right, let's just start with this, though. Let's get into our purple positivity segment here, because we'll go around the room a few times. It's a little easier to be positive about the Vikings after a win against the Packers.
Yes.
But we've only had 2 wins to feed off of, so the positivity has been largely forced.
We tried last week hard. That's not true. I tried very hard last week.
It's a good point. Well, let me start off with this one, okay? And some of this was a little more positive before Matthew Stafford tested negative for COVID yesterday. But the Vikings could wind up facing a backup quarterback on Sunday, and if not, they're facing a Matt Stafford whose whole week has been thrown off. So and Kenny Galladay's not going to play. So the Lions aren't that good. They've actually matched last season's win total already at 3-4.
That's not saying anything.
So they're better than they were last year, but it's a very gettable Lions team at home.
Yes.
Then you get a Bears quarterback situation, however you want to describe it, that is less than ideal for them the following week.
Yep.
Then you get the Cowboys quarterback situation the week after that. They may have Andy Dalton back by then. So if he comes back, at least he's steady. He's certainly not Dak Prescott. And then you get 2 home games against Carolina and Jacksonville. So your upcoming schedule is not very daunting. I'm not saying that you're going to be favorites in all of these. I think the Bears are probably going to be favorites.
And the Falcons did wax you.
That is true.
Like, that's the weird thing about this.
But Lions, Bears, and then 3 straight home games, starting with that Cowboys team. I mean, is this a stretch where you could roll off like 4 out of 5 wins? I'm not going to say they should run the table, but like, could the Vikings use the formula that they used in that win against Green Bay? Dalvin Cook stays healthy. Kirk Cousins avoids throwing game-wrecking interceptions like he did in that Falcons game.
He's not allowed to, maybe.
I mean, if you go 4-1 over that stretch, and it is not that unrealistic, could you all of a sudden you'd be 6 and what? Would you be 6 and so what's my math? 2-5? You'd be 6 and 6.
Yeah.
If that happened.
You would be the 2005 Vikings. Same exact thing.
So I guess my purple positivity statement is the Vikings have a pretty clear path if they want it. If they want it, they've got a pretty clear path to flirt with 500 again this season over the next month and a half or so.
Yeah, they definitely do. Good for them.
I wouldn't advise it. I am still on the draft as
It's
high
purple
as possible
positivity, man.
bandwagon.
Come on, I just
However,
said good for them.
Okay.
I'm being positive. Good for them. Way to go, Vikings.
I knew you were biting your tongue.
Yes. Yeah, I hate what you just said, but whatever. It's purple positivity. I swore I took an oath to be positive during this segment.
Okay, but like just to go down this path, after what you guys saw against the Packers. No. After what you saw against the Packers.
Yeah.
How reasonable, like what's a reasonable record to expect over these next 6 games? So again, Lions and Bears, you got the...
Can I ask you a question?
That should be the next 5 games.
Can I ask you a question? Can their opponents tackle?
I mean...
If they can't tackle, then what you just said is going to happen.
Okay. Yeah, the Packers
couldn't tackle. The Packers could not. So if you tell me that Dalvin Cook is not going to get hurt, all right, and then you're going to combine that with human beings who are paid to tackle who can't, they're going to win. That's exactly right.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume that the level of tackling you're going to face going forward is going to be better than what the Packers presented, but even good tackling has not thwarted Dalvin Cook in some of these games. True. I should mention too, Purple Positivity Thursday is brought to us by our friends at Corona Hard Seltzer. Spiked sparkling water, 4 fruit flavors, and the celebratory drink of choice after the 2 Vikings victories we have seen so far this year.
Or if you need to drown your sorrows. We've seen Declan do that as well.
Numerous times.
Responsibly.
For good and bad reasons.
No, just don't drive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No.
Just this whole responsible thing, like, don't drink and drive, okay? I shouldn't have to say that. But if you're on your couch and the Vikings lose and you go to town on a 12-pack or something, I'm fine with that.
I have driven a total of 8 miles in the last 2 weeks.
God
that
bless
is
you
all
for
that's
that.
on my odometer right
Saving
now.
gas.
8 miles.
Saving gas money, Declan Goff.
I have a car payment for 4 more years.
So you said, because you've been quarantining with COVID, so you've been eating toast and soup for like 2 weeks?
Yes. Yesterday I had sushi for lunch and I cooked an unreal New York strip steak last night for dinner. So it was like the first meal I had. I had a steak and salad. It was unbelievable after eating basically cinnamon toast and chicken noodle soup for 11 days. Felt like I was in college again, basically.
You can't afford to lose weight either.
No. And I can put back food. Despite my frail size, I can put back food. So,
oh my God!
All right. Well, we're glad Declan's back in studio for the first time in like 2 weeks. Purple Positivity swings around to Judd.
I have a Dalvin Cook factoid, which just again reinforces how good this guy has been when he can play in 2020. Okay. Dalvin Cook, 652 yards rushing in 6 games this year so far, is 153 more than Adrian Peterson had in 6 games during the 2012 season when he rushed for 2,097 yards.
Whoa.
In his first 6 games of 2012, AP had 2 rushing touchdowns. Dalvin Cook right now, as we sit here, is at 10, 3 off his career high.
Wow.
But again, and AP was being a slow cook to a certain degree in 2012 because he was coming off the knee injury in 2011. So I understand that they got him going and then upped his carries. But nonetheless, I repeat, in the first 6 games, if you compare 6 games of Peterson in 2012 against Dalvin Cook 6 games in 2020, Dalvin Cook has rushed for 153 more yards. That's damn impressive.
That's amazing. Okay, let me ask you this. So Adrian Peterson, let's go Adrian Peterson from 2007 through 2012, so the heart of his career, in his prime, he led the league in rushing a couple times, and that's really where he built his Hall of Fame stock, right? Culminating with the 2,000-yard season.
Mm-hmm.
Over that stretch, the Vikings made the playoffs 3 times in 6 years, only made noise once in 2009 when Brett Favre was their quarterback. So they, like, every other year they went to the playoffs and Peterson was the best running back in the NFL. Different era of football. That was still a little bit more of a traditional running back era. There were some guys like Le'Veon Bell came in the league shortly after that. But my question to you is,
sure,
if you take Dalvin Cook the last 2 years versus Adrian Peterson's first handful of years with the Vikings, who was more valuable to the Vikings within the context of the era that they played in?
Ooh.
Dalvin Cook now or Adrian Peterson then?
Ooh.
Peterson has the longevity. I get it.
Yeah. I would say within the context of when they were playing, so completely within that, I would say Peterson, because he was so dominant at what he did well. And to what you said, Phil, the Vikings still had the opportunity to focus on that. Now, eventually, Peterson's issues with pass protection and catching the ball did come up. But if we're just going to talk about initial impact, basically, it pains me because I like Cook more as a player, but I think Peterson was more impactful.
What about you, Dex?
Yeah, it's AP because, I mean, look at those Vikings teams. I mean, you could get by with Kelly Holcombs and Gus Frerotte with Adrian Peterson being the main focal point of your offense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even in 2017, I know Dalvin shreds his knee, but the Vikings make the NFC Championship game without him. And even in 2018, yes, you didn't make the playoffs, but your offense was still very hot through the air. You had Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, so you're able to supplement it. I agree with Judd. I think Dalvin Cook is probably the more special player just because he can do more. But in terms of who was more important to their era, I think it's AP. And to be honest, I don't think it's that close.
So I would agree. I think it's AP. I think Dalvin needs to do this for a couple more years and just show that he's one of the best running backs in the NFL. But I will point out an interesting number here, 2 of them for you. Dalvin Cook, in terms of just versatility, Dalvin Cook caught 50 passes last year for over 500 yards, 53 passes for 519. Adrian Peterson never caught more than 43 in a season, and more often than not was like a complete non-factor in the passing game. I mean, there's seasons in which Adrian Peterson caught 18 passes in 2011, 29 passes in 2013, where it was like once or twice a game. I think the Vikings should be using Dalvin more this season in the passing game, but he's more of a factor on third down and in the passing game. And if you want to go yards per touch in their career, so rushing attempts and receptions, Dalvin Cook, to this point in his career, is averaging a half a yard more per touch than Adrian Peterson.
Interesting.
5.4 yards per touch for Dalvin Cook, and Adrian Peterson, 5 yards per touch. Now, in fairness, it was 5.1, and it's been dragged down by his non-Vikings stops. Because, like, for instance, with Arizona, he averaged 3.5 yards per touch, which is not good.
His choice to keep playing.
So it is, but I think it's worth monitoring the Dalvin Cook situation with the Vikings the next couple of years because he may be entering that Adrian Peterson realm, just in more of a different era. Declan, purple positivity.
All right, my positivity is, and you guys are going to disagree with me, it's similar to Phil's, but I'm framing it differently. The Vikings are in a no-lose situation anymore because with the way their schedule is shaping up, they can still get back to 500, put themselves in the playoffs, and also still put yourself in conversation to find a quarterback. You don't know if Zach Wilson is going to be a consensus top 10 pick yet. The boards are split, okay? So the Vikings are probably going to beat the Lions. I think they're going to beat the Lions. Toss up against the Bears.
Hold on. Let's do this. Let's make this official. We're dancing around this. Let's just pick the damn schedule.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's just pick the damn schedule. All right.
Okay.
Let's start with Declan. Everyone keep track of their own wins and losses, okay?
Okay.
So the Vikings right now are 2-5. So I'm gonna mark. Let's keep track of our record from this point forward, and then add it to the 2-5.
Okay.
Because we're all dancing around this. We might as well just pick the damn schedule here. And we'll see if it's actual purple positivity or not.
All right.
Declan, home against the Lions this weekend.
Win.
Judd.
Yep, that's a win.
I think it's a win too. On the road against the Bears, Monday Night Football. Dex.
Win for me.
Wow.
Win for me.
That is a traditional Vikings loss.
It is.
They love to lose this game. And keep in mind, the Bears can do one thing the Packers couldn't. They can tackle.
They can. Yeah, the Bears have made Tom Brady look uncomfortable.
That defense will shut Cook down and send the quarterback into a blind panic that will not end well.
Yeah, I'm going to go loss on this one too. It's a gettable game if the Vikings are fully honed, but it just seems unlikely that they would be completely fully honed in this. And this would be the game in which the Bears offense finally clicks.
Code 4, Phil, QB that could take charge.
Yeah. All right. 3 straight home games. Let's start with home against Dallas.
That's a win.
Yeah, I think it is. I just think Dallas is a lost cause.
It was a loss beginning of the year, but yeah, it's a win now.
I think it's a win too. It's always a red flag when the first 5 minutes of a new head coach and there's already anonymous quotes coming out about how the staff is incompetent and
who starts at quarterback? Like you said, Dalton? I mean, he doesn't.
Ben DiNucci.
Yeah.
Ben DiNucci's out.
That dude got benched for
2 more
other
guys.
Practice squad guys.
For 2 guys I've never heard of any of these people.
My guy, Kellen Moore, should take off the headset, put on the helmet, and go do it. Come on, Kellen.
Okay, if you guys had just tuned into that game and you had no idea, you hadn't watched the Cowboys in 3 years, and you watch Ben DiNucci drop back and throw a pass, would you wonder, did all their quarterbacks get hurt? Is this a safety playing quarterback right now? Like his weird Uncle Rico motion?
I would have thought I was watching an Alliance of American Football League game.
Well,
that's what it looked like.
That's probably where he belongs.
Yes.
That's what it looked like.
All right. Home against the Panthers, week 12.
I love me some Teddy, but I think this is a win for the Vikings. It's close. Very close, but I think it's a win.
This is a loss for the Vikings. This is the type of game in 2020 I think that they'll lose consistently.
I think Teddy time has been. Teddy doesn't seem like the most grudge-holding, vindictive guy. He seems like a fun-loving. But I think this is a game he wants. I think he's fully healthy. He's entrenched as a starting quarterback. I think in the back of his mind, he doesn't want to stick it to everyone. I think he still loves Mike Zimmer and understands the circumstance that led to his departure. But I think a part of him is thinking, well, y'all didn't see the rehab all the way through with me, huh? Y'all didn't want to give me...
his contractor tried to.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, you're right.
I could see this being the Teddy revenge game in the most Teddy way. So I've got the Vikings losing that game. Home against Jacksonville.
Win.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, if the Vikings play the game that they did against the Falcons, they lose that game, but I'm confident they won't again. So I'll go win.
I got it as a win too. Gardner Minshew, wasn't he banged up too? Gardner Minshew hurt his thumb, so he's out.
He's out.
So I don't even know what
right
the hell
now,
they're
at least
doing.
He's out.
All right, at Tampa Bay on this is week 14.
Where?
At Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Did you say Tampa Bay? That's a loss.
Oh, Tampa Bay, yes.
It's a loss. It's a loss. The 5-game winning streak stops there. It's a loss.
Tampa seems to be they snoozed a little bit. I think they get a little bored sometimes, almost like an NBA team. But once December hits, they're going to be super dialed in.
That's what's going to happen. He's going to take off in December.
Yep. Okay, home against the Bears, week 15.
Win.
I'll give them a win here. They'll split with Chicago. I mean, I don't love Chicago. I just think they're going to lose at Soldier Field.
Chicago could I'm going to give the Vikings a win in this one. Chicago could be in fire the coach mode by then too. Matt Nagy feels like he's on thin ice a little bit. There's just uncertainty at quarterback.
This division could have 2 coaches, if not 3, get fired at the end of the season.
Then you get a short week, Christmas. It's a Friday game, week 16 at New Orleans.
Loss.
Yeah, it's a loss. The Saints will be. I think the Saints are popping. I think the Saints are.
They've won 4 or 5 straight games.
Yeah,
if they can get Michael Thomas back and just blended in with the team again, I got this as a loss. And then the final week of the season. I don't know what sort of ramifications will be on the line for this, but at Detroit in week 17, Declan.
It's a win.
I'm gonna have them split with Detroit. Loss.
It's too bad.
Man,
I
think they really win. I don't know. But this is another one of those games. How much does Detroit give a rip about Matt Patricia on January 3rd? I'm going to say it's, and you know what? This game also could be to avoid the cellar in the NFC North. Yeah. And that might be a motivational tactic for a Vikings team that has some sense of pride, right? I'm going to go win.
This game, in my world, that last game is a mentally checked out both sides game. It's going to be, so it'll just be whatever. Both sides.
No fans, right?
No,
just be
no
empty
fans.
in Detroit.
Yeah, and it's just going to be a non-playoff matchup, and it's going to be just awful.
Yeah. All right, so record unveil. I've got him 7-9 then.
I have him 9-7.
Oh my God.
I have 9-7, dude.
Yeah.
Purple positivity.
Yeah. Too much Corona seltzer is a good thing until you're predicting records.
Joe, what was your final?
6-10.
6-10.
But I mean, 7 wins.
9-7.
9-7.
Here we
But
come.
the problem is that gets you nowhere. That's exactly what we're trying to teach you. 9-7 gets you nowhere. It doesn't help you.
I don't know,
You
man.
just continue to spin your wheels.
Is 9-7? That's if there's 7 playoff teams, you're basically guaranteed a spot, aren't you? I mean, I wouldn't say
If
guaranteed.
there's
but
8,
You're probably between 20 and 15 in the draft slot.
here's the problem. Tonight, the Packers Niners game, which is going to be played, is proving why we're not going to have an 8th playoff team put into each conference, because they're going to play that game tonight with both teams decimated by COVID. If they're going to continue to, basically what they're saying is, oh, you've got it, go to quarantine. We'll replace you with player X or Y or Z.
Get a couple private jets ready. Just
Exactly.
in case.
This is going to be each conference will have 7 playoff teams, and the Vikings will not be good enough to make that field.
Okay, a 9-7 record here too. Let me just find this from last year. I just want to see how many. Like, where would they be drafting? I mean, you would be drafting 20th basically.
Yeah.
If you went 9-7.
That's completely spinning your wheels.
If you went 7-9, even you would be most likely just on the edge or outside of. You'd be anywhere between like 10 and 15. Last year we had 6 teams that went 7-9: Jets, Buccaneers, Falcons, Colts, Raiders, and Broncos. Right now, just for fun, according to Tankathon.com. Actually, since we're bringing up Tankathon.com, I'll give you.
I want a mock.
Right now, they've got the Vikings drafting 10th. And let's see what their mock says. gotta be
Cornerback Caleb Farley.
Yeah, of course,
From
cornerback.
Virginia Tech.
You really
But-
want that?
Zach Wilson, all the way down at 27.
So you could maybe trade up back into the first round, draft your
Right.
cornerback for Mike Zimmer, and then go
Stop.
get your favorite headband
Stop.
quarterback.
You're spinning your
9-7.
wheels. You're completely spinning your wheels. You're not helping yourself.
Dude, here's the thing. What Declan just laid out, if they keep playing the way that they did against, I would say even Seattle and against Green Bay, and that Atlanta game is the stepchild in between. Getting back towards 7-9 or 9-7 is not a total joke. It's not a total joke, but we'll see. I mean, you guys really didn't expect them to go 3-13, right? It was fun to speculate.
The
on
Falcons game gave me hope. The Falcons game gave me great hope. I think here's the thing. If they have a difference of opinion about Kirk, and it's insisted upon that the ball go back into Kirk's hands to win games, you've got a chance to be bad. If it's going to be Dalvin, if Dalvin pulls up lame, it changes the dynamic completely, because then it's Kirk's time again. And I am confident that Kirk can get you to where you should go.
Yeah.
Which is as low as possible.
Okay. Just for fun. Okay. So Declan's got him. This is Purple Positivity Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sipping the blackberry
It's
lime
Purple
for us
Positivity.
also.
The Packers are shorthanded, so are the Niners, but the Packers play a team that is absolutely in their heads and owns them in San Francisco tonight.
Yep.
If that game gets played. The Packers are not
They're
playing
going to
well.
play it with you, basically.
They get punched in the mouth. Any team with a good defense and like a hard-nosed team is, and the Vikings have been that. The Niners, the Bears even sometimes punch the Packers in the mouth. So the Packers are 5-2 right now. Let's chalk this one up as a loss tonight, just for fun, okay? So that's a loss.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to beat Jacksonville. Then they get another punch you in the mouth team in Indianapolis on the road. I think that's a loss for the Packers.
Well, if they can't tackle, it will be.
They've got 2 games against Chicago. Let's split those games, okay? Let's say they split those games. Then the other games are Philadelphia, Detroit, Carolina, and Tennessee. I'm going to give them a loss against Tennessee. A punch you in the mouth team.
That's fair, yeah.
Okay.
Philadelphia.
And then Philly, Detroit, and Carolina. Would they run the table with those 3 games?
Say they lose to Carolina, just for the sake of the exercise.
That makes it a 4-5 finish for the Green Bay Packers, putting their record at 9-7. So Declan has a path to the Vikings winning the division still?
Yes, dude.
And sabotaging the Vikings' future completely.
Our buddy Jason Fitz yesterday on ESPN Radio said right now, the Vikings are the best team in the NFC North. It pains him to say it.
Wow.
But they are. This division is turning into a dumpster fire. It really is.
Hey, you held them to 20 points, man. You gave us a chance at the end, but I got 3 words for you. You like that?
I love how we just did this. You fast forward 72 hours, watch them just get smoked by the Lions.
Chase Daniel.
Oh,
Chase
man.
Daniel throws for 4 touchdowns.
So you're telling me there's a chance. All right. Any other positive notes you guys want to throw out?
I can't take anymore. I'm going into sugar shock.
That might have been delusional.
That's all the positivity I can take for the rest of the entire week.
Well, that's the spirit of the segment. The spirit of
the
show.
But I do have my keys for tomorrow. My keys are all ready for tomorrow.
All right, Judd's keys. That'll be on the Mackey and Judd show tomorrow. Judd's keys to a Vikings victory. That's our other podcast. If you're not already subscribed to that, Mackey and Judd, Apple, Spotify, and ScoreNorth.com. A little bit of a reckless speculation venture today as it pertains to Twins, Vikings, and Timberwolves. And as always, daily Vikings deep dives and discussions here on Purple Daily, 7 days a week. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to our YouTube channel. And if you could help the show out by giving us a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple Podcasts. We'll see you guys tomorrow with Courtney Cronin.